Yo, what's up? What's happening, my beautiful people? And welcome to another episode of Chit Chats with Chaz. You already know it's your girl, Chasney, aka Chaz, aka so much more to CK on my personal IG. Now, let's get to chatting. As you guys know, I always like to start the episode off with a little quote, get us into the mood, into the moment of, what we're talking about and discussing today. So today's quote is: in every community, there is work to be done. In every nation, there are wounds to heal. In every heart, there is power to do it. And that is from Marianne Williamson. Shout out to you, girl, okay? All right, so today, family, we are going to be discussing community building, right? And there are so many ways that people can go about building community. Obviously, that's something I'm doing right now, like with the podcast and everything. People have done and are doing like different type of social media platforms and building their communities there all the time. And then, you got your people out in the field, out in the streets, putting together different events and activities and stuff for the community to partake in. So today, I actually am really excited because I have a guest who I feel like embodies everything that I just kind of said as far as building community since I've been aware of our guests. So my my friend Christina, I have a friend Christina, she goes to a lot of the events, and so she's always inviting me, sending me tags, all the stuff. And then actually, our last guest that we had on the show, Dre Carr, he even, gave his organization a shout out, not even knowing I was in the works. He told me to get this interview popping off for y'all. You know what I'm saying? So definitely want to give another shout out to Black Neighborhood. And without further ado, I present to you guys a Richmond native, the president, CEO, and one of the founders of Black Neighborhood, Cory Elliot.
What's happening, y'all? How's it going?
What's good, Cory? I am super excited to have you on. Like I said, like the last episode I did with a friend of mine, we were just talking about creating like safe space for Black men and stuff like that. Okay. And he was just definitely like giving you guys a shout out. And then like afterwards, he hit me up and was like, you need to be trying to talk to somebody from the Black Neighborhood and try and get them on your show. I was like, I already did, Cory. It's in the works. Like, don't even worry about it. Yeah. And like Christina, she's just always like, that's y'all's spokeswoman for sure. Like in my book, she's always tagging me and stuff, inviting me to the hikes and just telling me about different events and stuff that you guys, put on. So if there was anything that I left out in my introduction, you want to, go ahead and introduce yourself to my chit chatters. Let them know what you about.
Absolutely. What's happening, y'all? My name is Cory Elliot. I am a native of Richmond, California. My grandmother and grandpa moved there, many moons ago. Grandmama went to Richmond High. And I have a long history, family legacy within the city.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So what, just so we can go ahead and get it started, what does building community mean to you?
Personally, I think that building community first starts with your legacy. You know what I mean? So I was a teacher. I taught special ed for about 10 years. I have a master's degree in teaching while I lived in Manhattan, New York. And one thing I think is really important in our communities that I try to tell some of the young homies is don't forget how you came up. Mm-hmm. Don't forget the lessons of your mama, your G-mama, of your family, right? And so community first starts with the history and continuing, the momentum and whatever legacies that have came before us. And I think once we step into the light of our past, and we can step into the light of our tomorrow, which really just means being someone that your people and your family can rely on, showing up for you and yours, and also not being scared to like be one of the only ones, right? Because a part of community also is leadership. A part of it is also just understanding that you're going to do a whole lot of stuff that no one's going to ever see or talk about. but that's a part of being a leader, and that's a part of building community.
Yeah, oh, I love that. I love that. And so, what made you realize that your community needed uplifting?
um I don't even know. I mean, yeah, right. Like, a lot of communities need uplifting, and I wouldn't even say that I saw it as like a need. I was just
Hmm.
raised this way, right? My mother is the youngest of nine. And
Okay,
so I've always had family. I've always had people looking out, and I was raised to be an individual and to be a leader and to take care of me and mine, and as many people as possible.
for sure. Yeah, and I can kind of relate to that. My grandmother is one of 12.
Yeah.
So I have a whole bunch of, cousins,
Mhm.
aunties, uncles, and all that stuff. So definitely come from, yeah, that sense of community and having like a big family upbringing and stuff. So I definitely think that does, play a part how you were raised. If you were kind of around a whole bunch of, individuals and
Mhm.
cousins and all that stuff. And then it's like, your parents friends, them end up being your cousins and
Exactly.
people you grow up around with. So I think that definitely is important and for sure contributes to just having that community baseline in your family.
Facts.
So how did the Black neighborhood start?
Sure. So we officially started in 2016. There's five co-founders. We all came to TBN differently. The real spark was my mother, and I had graduated Howard, so I graduated from Howard University. My younger brother did as well, and his homie,
Mm,
him and his partner, him and so their names are Kimani Elliott. He's another co-founder, and he was essentially he met another co-founder, Bryce, and they met at Howard. They were roommates
okay.
their freshman year. And I had been living in New York for a while. This is after college. I came back
Hmm.
home, and I remember my mother sat me down. She had me watch the PBS Vanguard documentary on the Panthers. And
Okay.
she straight up looked at me and said, "All right, so you older than Huey P. Newton and them were when they started. So what you gonna do? What is your
Okay,
legacy gonna
mama,
be?"
come through.
So she sat down, she made me watch it. She had Kimani watch it, and I have another family member who's a co-founder as well. And so the three of us were sitting there watching that. I started to talk to them. And then the essence of like when we really brought this together, I went to Oakland and sat down with Rice and had him watch the same documentary, right?
Hmm.
And once he watches that, and then I'm sharing, he's sharing, we're talking, he's writing things down, and that is where we kind of formulated fully this concept. And then we just needed a name, right? I left that day, and we had everything pretty much like visioned out. We just needed a name. And one of the biggest contributions that he's made is coming up with the name. And so once he had the name for this vision and this thing per se, that's when we knew that we had something tangible that we could move with.
Yes,
And
I
then his
love that.
childhood partner is Uzo Wadubo, who is that that makes all five of the co-founders. So the five of us were able to get together, and we originally started doing food giveaways. There was an elder, her name is Miss Faye. She's passed away now, but she
Mm,
had a food pantry in East Oakland where she was essentially giving away food every month. But
right.
again, she was a senior, so they needed some young energy to really support them. And so we first started supporting them. And we were doing that consistently every month. And that's how we really got our legs.
Nice. I love that. And man, shout out to Howard University because I vicariously go there.
Okay.
My best friend is in the master's program. She's going to get her
Congratulations to
master's
her.
from Howard. She does it online, so she's still out here
Okay.
and does it online. And she's getting her master's in social work.
Okay.
Yeah, so I live vicariously through her with the school and everything. So once that graduation come up, I definitely will have my Howard alumni hoodie, t-shirt,
Yep.
whatever too, because I've been here on the journey.
Let's do.
Yeah, I love that. Shout out. Shout out to you guys for being, you feel me, alumni. That's what's up. And so me personally, when I think about just like myself, because I feel like I've been in a space myself where I'm kind of wanting to yeah, build community in a sense, like, and do something that is selfless. Like, I don't know if you're into the astrology, but I'm a Leo. I'm a little, I get a little self-centered at times. So there are times though lately, as I've gotten older and stuff, where I'm like, like, what attributes or like tasks and stuff do I kind of have where I can, give back. So what steps would you kind of give to somebody who's having a thought of, giving back, and like where could they kind of start with that?
Um, Absolutely. So I think first and foremost, oftentimes we don't do enough because we want to start off and be perfect and we want to have everything
Yes.
in
Yes.
order. And something that I've learned, and I think that God has really taught me this lesson is first and foremost, you got to be willing to do it by yourself, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have that type of belief in yourself and that type of intentionality to know that no matter if this is me by myself, let's say you want to pick up garbage in your neighborhood, like, man,
Mm-hmm.
I'll go out here and pick it up by myself every Thursday afternoon, right? So the first thing is to just start. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think that TBN has had this momentum um, because I and others have had that real thirst, that real desire to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And so my first advice for anyone who's really trying to be a community leader is it starts with you. It
Yeah.
starts with you, and you got to be responsible for sparking it. You can bring on your homies, you can bring on people,
Yeah.
as I've been able to do and how we've been able to do, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, there's gonna generally always be one person that would do this rain,
Mm-hmm.
snow, sleet, sun. You know what I mean? Whether everybody shows up, whether nobody shows up, if some of the
Yeah.
partners had, and if some of the homies is lazy, whatever the circumstances are, it always takes the heartbeat of everything. And if you are someone that's listening that's really trying to start some, I just encourage you to just go outside and do it.
Definitely. And that, man, that goes back to the quote in the beginning. In every heart, there is the power to do it.
Absolutely.
For sure. So, who would you say were some successful examples of Black led grassroots organizations that inspired Black neighborhoods?
The Panthers, I
Mm-hmm.
would say. I would say that's the only one, to be honest. Not saying that there aren't a bunch of organizations and people and leaders right there out there, but I came up in a single parent household, and so I'm not really used to looking at other people or looking at other examples or like having a mentor or anything like that.
Yeah,
You
same.
we just kind of figured it out as we go, right?
Yeah.
And so the Panthers were definitely an inspiration, as I shared kind of how that really sparked us and started us. But outside of that, there weren't any. And again, I know these orgs are here. I think it's important to say that
Yeah.
too often in this community space, you have people with egos that want to be the first org to do this or say they're the only ones doing that. And in actuality, like if we look at our history, most of what we're done has been done. Most of what we're
Before.
has been done before. But for us, we didn't necessarily look up or meet people or orgs that inspired us. We just got outside and did it.
Yeah.
And a large part of TBN and why we felt the need for this, because at least in our age group, in our communities, we never saw people like us.
Mm-hmm. That's facts. Yeah. I definitely can relate to that as far as, yeah, single parent household. And I don't feel like I had like people when I was growing up that I was like aspiring to be like. Like, it wasn't somebody on my block, that put stuff together or did stuff where I'm like, oh, Miss such and such be getting down, like, or
Yep.
nothing like that. And I also do like talk a lot about how, yeah, like especially in our, age bracket, like millennials, there are some of us, you feel me, that have kind of, succeeded and are doing what we're doing, but it is a lot of us kind of like on that middle ground that's kind of like, damn, I really wish I had somebody to just give me that little push, show me the way
Yep.
a little bit, you know what
Yep.
I'm saying? I think that's for sure, important for people to see, especially younger people, to have that kind of, big brother, big cousin that's, you feel me, doing something, whether it's in the community or they own business or something, but something for people who are younger to kind of like be able to aspire to, because a lot of us did not have that.
Yep. I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
You know,
So looking,
mhm.
oh, go ahead.
That's that's the unfortunate part about our community is that most of
Hmm.
us are in silos. And so even though I'm sure you had an uncle or I had an uncle who was doing something similar or giving out food to the kids or doing something in their community and was a community leader, by the time we come around, those are things we may not have seen. And
Yeah.
so that is a challenge that we have, is that oftentimes we feel like we are starting from scratch. And
Hmm.
I think
Yes.
we have to do a better job as a community of sharing love, sharing game. For the first, right, TBN now this is our ninth year. For the first few years, I'll say like 3 to 4 years, when I was really manning the Instagram account, I was always reposting everybody else's things
Hmm.
because I'm not one that cares about, like, no one needs to know Cory Elliot in terms of me and my position or what I've done with this org. I want people to see the work that we do and the impact. And it's
Yeah.
unfortunate to know that a lot of people really, I don't think it's a bad thing to want people to know your name or want to be seen, but a lot of people are competing, with each other when we don't have to whatsoever.
Yes, for sure. Like, and I think it definitely does to be a community leader. It does take a lot of selflessness and um, a lot of just who you are as an individual, because when you a real leader, doing stuff for your community, like you said, it's not about the recognition and the fame of it. It's about the impact that we are making in our community. And you're right, there are a lot of people who would rather be the face
Yep.
and would rather be, oh, I've done this, and want to share they accolades,
Hmm.
but it's like that's not important.
It's
That's
not.
not what we here to do.
And, I think also for those of us who are naturally leaders, we have to also recognize that the only way this is going to get done is if we step up and get in the game.
Yes.
For me personally, I made sure that everybody else had a higher position than me. Everybody. I have, you mentioned my titles now, but for a long time I was like, hey, I don't need to be the face. I don't need folks to know behind the scenes I'm doing X, Y, and Z here.
Hmm.
I want you to be this face. I want you to be that face. And, on one hand, I think that, I was definitely trying to inspire folks and push folks. But what I've learned is if God gives you a vision, it's up to you to accomplish that. And it's up to you to
Yeah.
be the one to get it done. And everybody else can be awesome and can be impactful, but no one is going to be able to fulfill the vision that God gave you. And once I accepted that, and once some members in the org said, yeah, Cory, like, it's about time for you to go ahead and do what needs to be done, I was able to fully step into this role in terms of being a recognized leader.
Yeah. And congratulations on that. Like, that's definitely something that like you just don't hear. Like, we don't have a lot of people that are natural born leaders. You know what I'm saying? I
Yep.
think a lot of stuff we see in our community, is a lot of younger people just kind of being followers and,
Hmm.
doing what they see and doing what's cool and what's put out there in the media. But it's like nobody got, where is the uncles?
Absolutely.
Where is the uncles, the grandpas, people actually giving you real game on life for real?
Exactly.
Not this internet stuff, cuz all that stuff, like, it's going to fade, it's going to evolve or
Mhm.
do whatever it do eventually, but you got to know who you are as a person offline.
Exactly. And something that I would tell folks that are in some of these positions is that, you know, the leader 10 times out of 10 is going to work the hardest, right? Oftentimes
Mhm.
we want to lead by supervision, right? We want to say
Yes.
like, "Hey, I'm the leader and this is my position, but I don't need to show up early or leave late." And the truth
Right,
of the
you just want to
matter is
delegate tasks.
exactly. But the truth of the matter is when things are really, really getting done, I'm not saying that, like I've also started my own consulting business. I'm not saying that you won't be at a position where you will be delegating tasks. However, leaders are the ones that are working the hardest, and your work is what's going to elevate you. You know what I mean? Your work is what's going to show who you are, and it's
Yeah.
lonely. And I think that's really why a lot of people don't necessarily sign up for it. I don't think there's so much animosity or hate or laziness as much as like being a leader means you're not going to be liked by your homies at all times because someone's going to have
Yeah.
to tell folks when we got to go left, when we got to stop, when we got to start. Someone's going to have to hold folks accountable. Someone's going to have to be there early and leave late and do a lot of the stuff in the background that no one's going to know or acknowledge. And people will
Yeah.
even take the work you've done and almost say that it was them or benefit off of what you've done. But that's just a part of giving, and that's a part of being a leader. And that is one thing that I've had to learn, um, is that everybody else, like no one's gonna be there for you like you will. And if you really the leader, then you do a lot of stuff in the dark that everyone else would benefit, but no one may necessarily help you that next day to get it done. You just got to keep working. And I think that's why we
Mhm.
don't see so many of our uncles or whoever, because they may be tired, they may be exhausted, they may have some animosity in them from whoever else they
Yeah.
were doing this stuff with. Um, but that's kind of what comes with being a leader. You know what I mean? You're not going to be liked by
Mhm.
everyone. Like you're going to have to be the asshole sometimes.
Yeah,
You know
for
what I
sure.
mean? And the biggest thing that I've learned is people are going to use you as an excuse, right? So I've had to have some tough conversation with folks. I'm not talking about the co-founders at all, right? But just having tough dialogue with people and realizing that, oh, because Cory said this, you can victimize yourself and make it seem like I was rude or I was this or I was that. And it's like, no, actually, I was super professional. You just didn't like hearing what needed to be said to you.
Yeah. And do you, in those cases, do you do you feel like it's easier to kind of get that backlash, especially when you're in more of a like nonprofit like
Mhm.
organization type of situation compared to if you was this person, like
Mhm.
employer in a bigger corporation?
Um, I don't I don't think it's easier necessarily because again, if you are the boss and you got to fire someone or if you have to reprimand someone, they're going to go home and say, "Oh, such and such was on my line, she's unfair, she's
Hmm.
hating on me." And it's like, "No, actually you showed up late every day this week. Like I had to tell you that."
Yeah.
I think that, when it's business and there's money involved, it's a bit different because people can separate it more, right? Versus in these
Yes. Okay.
organizations where we're all really volunteering our time and our space and giving so much personally, people tend to take certain things personal.
Hmm.
And so I do think that that is a difference now that we're speaking on it. Is that when you're in a job, you can do a better job of separating the business part. But when you're in these organizations and you're doing it with people you see often, and we're all showing up early and working hard, people definitely don't always understand the business part of organizing.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right. Well, looking towards the future,
Mhm.
what are some of the aspirations and visions that you guys have for building a thriving, sustainable, and just more inclusive Black communities in the Bay Area?
Absolutely. I think first and foremost, right? So we have a lot of different events. We have our mental health hikes of healing. That's technically what they are. Right, we have over 150 people that sign up for each hike. The hike in February had 85 people attending, and it was lightweight storming. Like it rained during parts of the hike. We had 256 people signed up for that hike. We have a hike this
Okay.
Sunday. We have about 160 people signed up now. But I think that continuing the outdoor and the mental health component of community is really, really important to us. We also give away turkeys every Thanksgiving. This will be our ninth year. We give away 500 turkeys, over 1,000 bags of like that Thanksgiving food. And so continuing some of our staples, we have an after school program in Oakland, at Aspire
Okay.
Schools, which is just young men focused. So we can help some of these young men understand
Mhm.
how to cultivate society, how to respect the ladies, how to be a man. We have a scholarship fund. We have game days, social events. And so our goal, first and foremost, my personal goal is to really turn this into a job, right? Not only
Mhm.
for myself, but for a good group of us. For this to be a job means that we can, like, this is already my life personally, right? But it's hard
Yeah.
for me to ask somebody else to show up in a certain facet if they're not able to get some sort of financial support, right?
Yes.
And even for myself, like, this is year 9, but can I do this for another 9 years if this isn't my job and I'm not somehow on a salary? Probably not. I don't have
Right.
any kids yet, but if I did, that would make things much harder. You know what I mean? I'm
Right.
not married
Totally
yet, but if
understand.
I am, then I'm sure my wife can be like, all right, I get you doing that, but like, are you really making money? You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I definitely
Mhm.
want to elevate the business portion to making this a job and to having, right, because we do a lot of support for the community, but what about financial support? What if I can holler at you and say, yo, we're trying to do a 4-part podcast series and we got 5 grand for you to do it?
Right.
You feel
I'm
me?
there.
And I think that's something even in our communities, the financial elevation that we don't always
Yeah.
have, right? Like it took us a long time. It took, like, last year's the first year we ever got funding for anything, but it's the first year that we ever sought out funding. Now we get a lot of
Mhm.
community donations, so don't get me wrong. The community donations is what has funded the turkeys, the food. Now we have a partnership with the turkeys, which is awesome. Shout out to the school that purchases those items. But for a lot of the turkey giveaway, we also have a quarterly farmers market. We were doing it monthly, but a lot of
Yes.
the food stuff or a lot of the items that we've purchased in our website, everything has been supported by the community. So one big shout out to the community, big shout out to the donations. And also for us to really get to that next level, I really want to make sure that we have the business part, and then I want to be able to hire people to be in certain positions.
Mhm.
Currently still, things really have to go through me and I have to have my hands on them for them to be successful the way that we want them to be. We do have Kimani's in New York and he's running the scholarship, and we have a book series we've been doing for a few years, so he's been killing that.
Yes.
And also there's so much more elevation for us to have if certain people can be in real positions to prioritize. And so I would like to first continue with some of the events that we have and find ways to elevate them and streamline them. And I would like
Mhm.
to secondly find ways to provide business and job opportunities within the org. And then thirdly, be able to be, because right now we're primarily in the Bay Area and New York, but we also do have
Mhm.
events in Los Angeles. And so the third component to this would be to be able to essentially be a hub for our community in multiple different states in multiple different capacities.
Yes, 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 yes. I would definitely love that too. Definitely would love to see y'all on a bigger scale and expanding, because like everything that you're talking about, like it's just so many things, like the leadership, like our black boys, the farmers market, like it's just so many things that's like been coming up for me, like as an adult, where it's just like, little stuff, grocery shopping, like dang, I
Yep.
gotta look at the ingredients now,
Yep.
like dang, I need to be going to more farmers markets, making sure my food is locally sourced, and I know where stuff is coming from, because all this processed foods and additives and all that, like it's crazy. It's crazy. And you
Absolutely.
can't even be healthy for real, without wondering if you're gonna get salmonella from the lettuce. Like it is, you know what I'm saying? It's just little stuff like that too. And then also, yeah, just our youth and our communities, and having them have people that they can confide in and talk to. Like, we still young. Like, you know what I'm saying? People might be in their 30s, but that's not old. So it's like we can still relate to the kids and really put them on in a real type of way, because we not gonna sugarcoat it kind of how it was given to us or not given to us. You feel me? We really gonna, in an appropriate way, you feel me, for a child, let you know what's really going on. So I definitely agree with all that. I'm definitely excited for you and looking forward to seeing all of that expand and happen.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate
Yeah, for sure. Like this is exactly why I asked you to be on here, because this is exactly what I mean when I, think about community building and the things that, we need in our community to keep it uplifted and, to see it thrive in the future for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So just keeping it going with the community building, how can someone start a community organization? What are some steps if somebody wants to get started, implementing stuff in their community? How can they start that?
Um, like I said, I think it's not as abstract as we think. There's definitely a business side behind it, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
are going to be a non-profit, there's certain documentation you have to submit to the state. You'll definitely want to find a lawyer or someone to look over your paperwork. Nowadays, you can go on YouTube and it'll tell you all the documentation that's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
However, when it really comes to starting it, it's just about doing it. Whatever you believe in. If you're a young lady and you want to, that there's a bunch of kids in foster youth and you just want some of these young girls to feel happy when they step outside, so you want to have a free nail service.
Mm-hmm.
Show up at a foster home, let them know you want to come 1 hour a week on a Wednesday at 6, and you want to do 10 nails every time you come. You know what I mean? And you could bring you and your partners. Whatever
Yeah.
your vision is, you just have to literally go outside and do it. You have to start. Now, once you start, and again, what we've learned 8 years later is that there's a lot of funding opportunity in these spaces, right? The
Mm-hmm.
YMCA is probably $1 billion industry. I don't know, but they killing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And things like the NFL is a non-profit, and so there's so many different avenues that one can take. But if you want to start, my advice to you, whoever you may be, is to get outside and do it. Because anytime you're looking to really facilitate it, you're going to need to have a history of doing whatever it is you've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We have not even scratched the surface. Right now, I'm looking for folks that can help us get funding so that we can continue doing the work that we're doing and elevate everything. Um, and so we haven't even scratched the surface with what we can do. Like, we've been doing this from donations and from the money we personally have. We've been
Right.
paying for stuff ourselves. And so I would
Mm-hmm.
tell someone, when you first start off, you gonna be doing it yourself. You're gonna be paying for your gas or whatever tools you may need. But again,
Everything.
that's what a part of community is. I would also say in our communities, we often don't know the value of what we're doing or who we are. And so as you continue doing this work, you will look up and see that there is a lot of value. Not only, like, for for me personally, I don't even really care about the money because I feel like this is my family. You know what I mean? I feel like helping out my
Yeah.
community is like helping out my auntie that may be outside. You feel me? But in
Yeah.
actuality, at some point, you're going to need to prioritize it a bit more, and you're going to need to find ways to support people. And so I would just encourage you to just get up, read a little bit, watch a little bit on YouTube. Like, we don't have to
That
reinvent
YouTube
every.
University.
You know what I mean? Follow some folks on social media that inspire you and just start doing your thing. And you're going to look up 6 months from now and see you've had one event a month, let's say. Now you have 6 events. Take a picture. You know what I mean? Post something about it. Now a year has gone by and you are on your way to something magnificent.
Yes, you just gotta do. You just gotta do. That's it.
You
I'm
know,
telling
it's the
you,
hardest thing, but you
it
just
is.
do it.
It is because it was hard for me to kind of get the ball rolling on like my own podcast. Like, the imposter syndrome kicked in, like all of that type of stuff, wanting it to, be perfect, wanting it to be on video, like all of that type of stuff. And I was just like, dang, I don't have this, I don't have this. But it's like, bruh, just start. Like, you know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Like, y'all, like, the podcast I had, like, that was only audio as well. But it's like, on our analytics and stuff like that, like it was still people listening and from other countries and all types of stuff. So it's like that don't even matter. Like, don't even worry about, you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, you do have to worry about the logistics and stuff at some point, and like investing in, equipment and whatever it entails for your, what you're doing. But the thing is to just start. Like, I be looking at some of these people that are, podcasters or influencers or whatever. I'm like, this bitch in her car. Like, they're in their car filming. They're, you know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? It's not no fancy setup. It's not this. It's not that. What people would think. And so, yeah, you just gotta start. That's it.
Absolutely. That's it.
Ooh, well, that great convo. Great convo, Cory. Thank you for being on. I truly appreciate the convo we're having. But before I let you go, I do want to play a little game.
Okay.
Yeah, it took me a minute to kind of come up with this too, so I'm actually glad we needed an extra hour. I was like, what is this game? I was
Oh,
because
good.
sometimes I either when I have guests, I have a game, and then when I'm like by myself, I just kind of do a segment. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll just do the segment and like include him. But then I was like, you know what? Nah, you got this extra time. We gonna figure this game out.
Mhm.
So what I came up with is called Name That Organization.
Oh, snaps. Okay.
I know, yeah. I know. I was kind of laughing to myself in my head as we were talking, but yeah. So I'm gonna give you clues pertaining to a certain Black-led Bay Area organization, and then you'll have to name that organization.
Dang, I might not win this game, but come on. Ready?
It's all good. We ain't got no prizes, but it's all
Mhm.
good. Everybody will learn something. It's educational. Okay, so the first organization was founded in 1988 in Oakland, California. And their focus area is economic development, and their chairman is Chuck Baker.
Oh my goodness. 1988 economic development.
Hmm.
I have no idea who that is.
Oh, good. So this is the 100 Black men of the
Okay.
Bay Area.
Shout out to them.
Yeah,
Uh,
shout out to them. We definitely need that economic development up in
mhm.
here because, man, the Bay Area is expensive.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Expensive. Oof,
I do know
man,
of the organization, but I did not know that part right there. So shout out to all of them. Shout out to the 100.
yeah, for sure. All right, second organization. This was founded in 1888 in San Francisco, California. And this organization, their focus area are the arts, community, and community development.
1888.
1888.
Yeah, I clearly should be reading some more on our history. And who might this be?
This is the Bayview Opera House.
The Bayview Opera House. So I should definitely know that I will be screening or sharing a documentary that I'm working on at the Bayview Opera House in the coming months. It's really going to be
Yes,
captivating seniors in the Bayview area and highlighting the African American history that we have there. Shout out to the Bayview Opera House. Shout out to a few other orgs that are really, really spearheading that. But I should have known that one for sure.
perfect. Yeah, shout out Bayview, and definitely let me know about that screening. I definitely want to go tune in.
I'll let you know.
All right. So our third and final organization is in your hometown, Richmond, California. It was founded in 1981, and their focus area is on community development, economic development, and human services.
You said they were found when? 1981.
Yep.
Tell me what they're about one more time.
Their focus areas are community development, economic development, and human services. One more clue, maybe it's not a clue or a hint, but their current chief executive, her name is Carol Dorham Kelly.
Wow. Goodness gracious. This sounds like something that I should know. I ain't gonna hold you, but I do not.
This is the Rubicon Programs Incorporated.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know of them. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah, Rubicon Programs.
I
So
have
yeah,
seen
they do a lot of
they have a
community.
building. I've seen that name.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't pass that name, but I did not know much
Yep.
about them. So thank you for sharing that.
For sure. Yeah, shout out to them. And yeah, like if anybody needs any services, like check it out. You need some economic development. We just named two organizations, one in Oakland, one in Richmond. If you into the arts, you could definitely check out Bayview Opera House and
Yep.
see
Bayview
what
Opera
they
House is
have.
beautiful too. The location is phenomenal. If you want to do
Hmm.
events, you could do events out of there. I mean, there's so much that the Bayview Opera House has to offer.
I love that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check them out. I did go on the website and just seeing, yeah, a lot of events and just, yeah, a lot of theater, dance. So it was definitely, and all the all the people were black. I was like, yes, my people. I love it. I love to see it. I love to see it for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Wow. Well, that is a wrap, y'all, for today's chit chat. I just want to thank Cory again for coming and being a part of the podcast. Like anybody that is, coming to be a guest, like I truly appreciate y'all being on my journey. And, I definitely appreciate you, Cory, and your organization and what you guys are doing. Like those are all definitely key points and things that I, believe in and feel our community needs.
Chasney, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. All right, y'all. So if you like this episode, you enjoyed yourself, you enjoyed the conversation, definitely make sure you hit, the like and subscribe buttons. Definitely go to the Black Neighborhood Instagram. That's where you need to be going, like right now.
Yeah,
You need
follow
to be seeing,
us.
yes, follow them. And definitely make sure you signing up for the hikes. I just am not an early bird, Cory. I just am not an early bird. Christina sends it to me all the time, and I'm just like, oh, 9 a.m. I gotta be there. Whew.
It's
Lord
worth.
Jesus, help me.
It's worth.
I understand. One of the easy ones, I'm gonna be up there.
When's the last time you went on a hike for real?
The last time I went on a hike for real was like some years ago.
That's unacceptable. You might as well with us. It's mental health, it's community. You can share about your podcast and you can just be around a bunch of amazing people.
When it's one of the easy ones, I'm gonna go ahead and make the sacrifice.
All right. I look forward to having you there. Bring some people. It's all love.
Thank you so much. And y'all, remember the conversation never ends, and y'all keep chatting.